basically getting the whole thing painted in black, and this allows me to see if I missed anything. So for example, let me see right there, kind of missed that little corner behind that boarded up 2x4. I noticed better shot right kind of in between there. So yeah, so it gives me a good idea of what else I have to paint, and at this point I don't have to use a big brush. I can just use see right there, you can see a little pink up here, and it gives me a good idea of what I need to touch up before I start laying down the colors. So it looks like most of it is okay. I still have that little corner down there has to be painted, and already painted the fence, kind of destroyed the fence that I had, painted it in silver, and I have a kind of some piping going along with it. I also painted in that same, not silver, but that hammered color. Alright man, so this is yet another step, a little closer. Go back and touch up with the black right now, let that dry. Then I'm going to start with the red brick, and then while that's drying I can work on the concrete bricks as well. So that wraps kind of around the corner. Alright, progress. Alright, so moving along, painted the brick, so I did that first. Generally, what I usually do, somebody just asked me, Sam just asked me how I get my colors so, I don't know if he meant vibrant or just looking good on the dial. This color here is called, it's brick red, and it's by this company called My Studio. Now this is a lower end acrylic color. The reason I like to use this is because it almost gives the wall kind of like a watery, the paint is watery, so it almost gives the wall like this inconsistent cover, which works well with brick. So I tend to use this. I used to mix my brick color, but I really like to use this, so I've been going with this for all of my dials that have brick, which is, you know, most of them. So I took the fence that I had originally made, and pretty much all I did was cut a piece off, and then it's mesh, so you can bend it and it'll kind of stay in place, which is great. So I created the destroyed fence out of that original one because I think the dowel rod is a little too thick. I'm gonna get some more that's a bit thinner, so when I do the fence that's in good shape, I'll do it with the other dowel rod, and then I'll just leave this one as the, you know, the destroyed type fence. I still have to obviously weather it and so forth. Got my pipe painted, so that's going to be in that corner. So the next step is this side. You know, there's going to be a little more work because this is going to be a gray cement, and that's easy enough, and this will be another shade of gray. The problem here is that I'm not going to have to put a frame color here, and then the wood is going to be a different color from here, so I have to let dry, use a little bit of painter's tape to protect, you know, the border, the frame, and then paint the wood. So it's definitely going to be a little more challenging on this side. Originally I thought, you know, of just working on the wood separately and not, you know, not putting it in kind of giving it that black all together, which is what I did with the door this time. The door has not been officially or permanently connected, just because it's going to be easier to just paint the door and then glue it on. I was thinking about doing it with this, but I don't know. I just felt like I didn't feel, I don't know, for whatever reason, just because I knew that I had to reinforce this wood because it's fairly thin, so I had to kind of put another layer in the back, like another piece of wood, and that was thunder. So my daughter should be running into this room any minute now. Yeah man, so this is where I'm at right now. Later on tonight I will start working on this side, which again is going to be the most time consuming side. Or actually what I may do is just finish up this side, and then when I go to work tomorrow, bring this with me and start painting the wood. So ended up pushing this a little bit this little section, pushing it in, beating this up a little bit, a few dents here and there, and then just leaving that one nice and crispy. Again, just to give it kind of those two different feels of kind of new, nicer, and then beat up. All right, y'all. Peace. All right, so here's a little more progression on this. Today I pretty much painted the walls on both sides. I installed the piping, electricity pipe, what have you. Painted the wood here that's holding the fence. Also painted the wood on the windows. I am gonna paint this a different color, so I'm probably gonna do this. You know what? I might do a turquoise, man. I love the color turquoise. I haven't used that color yet, so I think if you just do the frame and the inside of the door, and then when I use the black airbrush or the black on the airbrush to kind of give it that mist, it won't be as bright, and I think it'll look pretty good. I may end up using another color, maybe a darker color. I don't know. I'll have to figure it out. But what I went with a really light gray. I think it's called a granite gray, which is the color I wanted, just because these are the man, what do we call them? They're cement blocks, but they're you know, they're obviously bigger than the bricks. So I went with that look, and then with the darker cement up top, and then I went with a whole nother color. So you might not be able to tell on camera, but this gray and that gray are two different colors. Yeah, I'm gonna paint the door a different color as well. That's not officially installed yet. Once I paint it, I'll install it. And then this is where we're at. I still have to kind of give a dry brush on the floor, and then give it I've been covering them, kind of giving it that wet look, that wet street look, and I've been using the Elmer's. It's a sealer. It's I guess a spray glue. I've showed it before. Yeah, but I'm pretty happy with how it's coming out so far. I love that corner, man. That corner is really dope. And then and again, man, just the whole contrast of styles. You know, something where it's a little more presentable, respectable. You know, if you're taking a picture in this corner, you can make it anything. It doesn't have to necessarily be an alleyway. And then this definitely has that feel of alleyway / abandoned type building. So, you know, again, I think in the fence, I'm done with the fence as well. So I was able to, I think I already said this in the last video, but I was able to finish that up, repaint it. So that's all set. So yeah, man, just trekking along, and you know what I just noticed? I'm gonna have to paint this back wall. I'm gonna have to paint that black because you can see it from the window, and that is not a good look. So I'm gonna have to go back to that. And you know, there's always touch-ups, and there's you know, I'm gonna dry brush this wood a little bit with a lighter brown to give it more of that wood look, wood feel. But you know, as with any project, you know, it's one of those situations where you kind of paint it, you sit back, you look at it, you see where the touch-ups are necessary, you know, you see what you need to do, and then you keep working on it till it's done. My deadline, my self-imposed deadline is tomorrow night, so it is not even noon yet, Saturday morning, and I'm done. I'm probably 90% done. I'm gonna actually do a little bit of graffiti in this corner as well. Definitely not as much as Slings Dio, but I'll throw some graffiti on here because it would definitely make sense. And I have some nice flat spots so I can throw some tags and what have you. No graffiti on this side. I'm gonna keep that clear of graffiti. Again, same deal as Slings. Went with another color for that. I think I said that in the last segment. Definitely happy with how that came out. Yeah, man. So I'm moving along. I mean, I have this is probably not a really good room to record. I'm not sure how it's gonna look on the computer screens, but on this little screen, just all the light colors in the background, kind of throwing off the camera a little bit. But all right, y'all. And actually, you know what? I think I'm gonna go with 3 parts for this video, for the Alley Way Dio 3.0. I may go with just 3 parts. I think. I mean, you guys can tell me differently, but sometimes I think maybe a half-hour episode, people may tune out, as opposed to maybe just cutting them into 12 to 15-minute videos, where I think that may be more the norm. But again, man, I'm new to YouTube, so let me know, man. Comments, you know, most of you guys know me on Facebook, on Instagram. I don't necessarily, if you guys have any questions, sometimes I kind of, you know, I'll record a video on YouTube, and then I don't necessarily always go back to it right away. So if you have a pressing question that you have for me, and you asked it on you know, in the comment section, and I didn't get back to you right away, it's not because I'm ignoring you. It's just because I might not have seen the comment, or you know, I guess I don't. You can't leave comments. I'm on my iPhone for the most part, and you can't leave comments, reply to individual comments on the iPhone. So a lot of times I have to wait till I'm at work, so I can do it, or sometimes I'll borrow wifey's computer and just do it at home. But if you have a pressing question, hit me up on Facebook, man. I'm at Al Figures on Facebook. If you want to email me, al.figures@gmail.com. I'm always willing to help out any way I can, answer any questions, you know, shoot the shit, whatever you guys, you know, I'm if it's about action figures and y'all want to talk about it, then I'm about it. All right, y'all. Peace. And we're done. All right, officially done with this one. Was able to create the you know, the fence that is not broken down, not chewed up, not beat up. So he'll be able to have interchangeable fences. Again, if you're gonna take some pictures and want it to look a little bit not so destroyed, then you put the, you know, the non-destroyed fence and you replace it and take out that beat up fence. And if you wanted to do something more towards this corner, then obviously you would leave the fence that's there. Yeah, this was again, man, I always say this, but I'm really having a good time, man. This was another fun project. This one's going out to Rich out in California. He goes by the name of El Sinestro on Instagram. So he hit me up again and just was you know, it was really cool doing this project for him. Is you know, although I think the main thing for him was like, dude, I want a fence. And so just going off of that idea and going, you know, which again I've mentioned, just off of the fence that I had made, the wooden fence, I got the information I needed from Slings, from AW Designs, and was able to come up with this type of fence. You know, the only, I don't want to say negative thing about this fence is that you know, the where this comes from, which is gutter mesh, is only 6 inches tall. So you know, I'd have to do something if I wanted to kind of do a taller fence, but you know, that's not impossible. But 6 inches is a pretty good size. So that was fun as well, because I've always wanted to get into fencing, man. And to be honest with you, I was just intimidated. I just didn't know. You know, I had seen Sling's, you know, tutorial on fencing, you know, some time back, but I was like, man, chicken wire. I just, you know, cutting metal, and then I don't know. It just seemed like it was just too much, man. Maybe it's just that lazy side of me or whatever. But you know, this is a much you know, safer. I know that Rich has a daughter, and so if she ever, I don't want her getting cut, you know. So one of the things that I had to do, for example, is the back of these, when you use the copper wire, you know, and cut it, it kind of stays really, really sharp. So what I did is I kind of bent it down, and then I put glue, some dabs of glue gun on the tips, so that it's not, hopefully that won't come off and it's not too sharp. And even if it does come off, I bent it enough where it shouldn't hurt anybody. And that was always my fear with chicken wire. So and again, like AW had mentioned, and AW Designs, and on the post, was that this probably is more in scale than the chicken wire. You know, at the end of it, it doesn't really matter, because depending on the angle of your shot, you can't tell either which way. Put in the signage, just you know, no parking anytime. The keep out and then the Beware of Dog. And airbrushed it. I was actually on a real cool chat with AJ and Michael Whisman over the weekend on Sunday. And the craziest part of the chat is that I was up. It was morning time. It was 7:30, 8 in the morning. They're like on the West Coast. So it was like 4 in the morning over there. And they're up like nothing. It was crazy. So it was us three just kind of talking it up. And I had, through the chat, it's one of those Google Plus chats. So I just turned my phone around and I was recording, or not recording, but they were able to see the view of this as I was, speaking and talking to them and what have you. And a couple times asked for some advice and some thoughts on, what their opinion was. For example, I had originally said I wanted to do graffiti on this wall, and then after I kind of did it, I was like, man, I don't think so. I don't think it'll be a good look for a couple of reasons. Generally, I mean, I guess I can do some airbrush tags that makes it look like, like spray paint. I don't know. I just don't think the space was big enough. I didn't want to do some and then not, and then you do one and then you do two and then three and then it doesn't look symmetrically. It doesn't look right to me. So I end up covering the whole thing graffiti. So I decided to not do the graffiti part. And I'm kind of glad. And so I had asked their advice and they both felt the same way. And I'm kind of glad I asked because I was leaning towards no graffiti. So to have it confirmed by, two guys that I respect, their skill set when it comes to dial making, it was definitely cool to hear some feedback. And then AJ has suggested, just AJ or Michael, I'm not sure. Just anytime you have cracks and water gets in and it just starts to give it a kind of a stain. I think AJ specifically suggested you doing kind of a mossy green coming off the wood. I didn't have the right green, so I stayed away from it. Which is fine. It's not something where you're gonna be able to tell too much in the pictures when you do, toy photography. But I was able to definitely do a little bit of effect with airbrush coming off of the chunks that have been pulled out of the wall. It's been sealed, acrylic sealer, so it's pretty much ready to go, man. So, I hope Rich likes the diorama. As always, I put my best effort forward always, man, because this is something that, you're going to be seeing with your own eyes. And I think that's why I get so, a couple comments. I put some pictures yesterday on dial structure and a couple comments of just, the details. And I know a lot of times these details don't show up. I mean, if I have an action figure, right here and I'm taking a picture of the figure and I'm focusing on the figure, a lot of the times the back ends up being a little blurry. It's just not something that necessarily is is going to show up. And I completely understand that, but I think more than anything, it's that eye test. So when you first see it with your eyes, you're like, oh shit. And then, as opposed to saying, hey, it doesn't look that tight. It doesn't look that detailed, but don't worry about it. Because when you take pictures, you can't tell anyway. It's more like this. Let me put the work. And then from there, you'll see what I mean by, as you take pictures, the background is just that. It's a background. It's supposed to fade into the background. It's not, the dials aren't I tell people all the time, the dials aren't the show. This isn't the show. The show is the action figures, the posing, the scene that you're creating. This is just part of it. It's an important part of it. Don't get me wrong. But it's not the main ingredient, So I think it's something that I'm a believer in. It's about the action figures. This is just that secondary part of it. So I'm shipping this out today, and hopefully it'll be in California by the end of the week. And Rich enjoys and has a good time with it. I know, again, his main thing is Walking Dead figures with these, so he's gonna have a lot of different options to do with. So I also kind of did that window, like that broken up, busted up window, which I thought came out pretty good. All right, officially on to the next one. Peace.